So I'm thinking of doing a documentary on God. The other night I was watching television and I found another reality show that's coming out about downsizing. And I actually thought, wow, that's a relevant reality show because a lot of people are doing that. It's Family of 7, they have to move foreclosure. So, and then I'm also encouraged because the movie Devil has been in the theaters for
and Michelle McCarthy.
Yeah, 3.5 weeks, and it's top 10 still. So if the Devil can be primetime, then why not God? So it's called Damage Control, and it's basically about testimonies, my testimony. They've taken testimony service out of the church, so people don't really get an opportunity to give a current report, or praise report as they call it, as to how God has been relevant in their life, whether this week, if they needed something this year, if you put food on their table, something small, something large, healed someone. So I'm going to do this with no money, no budget, but God is going to bless it. And I'm just going to interview random people. And I picked you as the first person because I see you every day. And I know you're Catholic. I'm also Catholic, but Catholicism is kind of boring to me, so I had to jump over to baptism.
Thanks.
Sorry. It's a little livelier in the Pentecostal church. So, I want to hear your story first because you're Catholic, you're from Jersey, and you're Snooki. So,
I think you need to clarify why.
All right,
why
Snooki.
I'm called Snooki.
We call her Snooki because when I first saw the first picture of Snooki, she reminded me of Michelle because they're Italian. They're both from Jersey Shore.
I don't get spray tans and I don't
she
poof
doesn't
my
wear her
hair.
poof. We tried to get her to do the poof, maybe for Halloween.
Actually, that was a recommendation.
Yeah.
Somebody just
Yeah, you can get the hair. I'll buy the poof. So, why is God relevant in your life?
Yeah, I mean, to backtrack, I come from a very religious family, Italian and Irish Catholics. My great uncle is actually a priest, so religion has been a huge part of my life ever since I was baptized when I was a baby. I went to Catholic college, Notre Dame, out in Indiana, and I think it's a big part of my life because I feel like there's always, having God in my life is assurance that there's always something else out there. I feel like living in Manhattan, I grew up in North Jersey. I've been around New York City my entire life, but now that I've lived here for about 5 years, it's a very godless place. Mm-hmm. And you're constantly around people. There's a city of 8 million people, but you still feel alone every day.
You could be on a totally crowded train.
You can be on a crowded train and people are pushing you and bumping into you. There could be dozens of people standing next to you on the subway, and yet no one interacts. You feel all alone. So for me personally, it's reassuring to know that I have something else in my life, something bigger that drives my motivations and why I do the work that I do. And just it adds to the sense of humility too, that we live in this very rich city. There's tons of money. People are constantly trying to be somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think having God in my life just makes me want to be.
Right. You're more grounded and you're more content with yourself.
Yeah, it's not about climbing to the top of the corporate ladder and getting this salary or getting that salary. It's
right, what title I have.
Feeling fulfilled as a person and knowing that every job that I take or little action that I make is having some impact on somebody else's life. It's not about just me.
Right. That makes sense.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you've lived in New York a lot longer than I have. I'm just coming to realize more and more that nobody really has. Tons of people I see on the street, they do all of these great things, but they don't have God in their life, and it makes me just wonder what drives. What are their motivations? What's behind all of this that they have? Why are they here?
Yeah, like why do they wake up in the morning? Is it, for that hectic day of meetings and, appointments and BlackBerry and, that can't be your end all be all. There has to be a connect with something else.
Yeah, I think it's not just the beginning too, it's like you just said, it's the end. What are you going to have at the end of the day or at the end of your particular life? So a lot of people come to this city and they sacrifice family so that they can have a career, and then a career passes in 20, 30, 40 years and they find themselves still alone and unhappy, and that's not the type of person that I want to be, and having faith in my life is pushing me in a direction different from the ones that so many other people are pursuing.
That makes sense. When I Honestly, I did the chasing of the check for a while. And first, 9/11 is the first rude awakening that I had that none of this is permanent. None of it's promised. But I think over the years, because I actually just became saved in 2003. And it's amazing just how when you feel that you're down to your lowest, there's always something. There's always something to look forward to. And I think living here, when you're down to your lowest, it can be a sad situation, depending. If you're out of a job, it depends. You live by yourself, you can even live with people and feel low. But always having that feeling that there is something greater. I can get on my knees and pray to God and know that He ultimately has His hand over my life, and that He has, and nothing that He's planned for me is for bad. That kind of keeps me grounded. It keeps me with my head up, living in New York on a daily basis. So we're gonna wrap this up, but before we finish, I want you to, if you could have a conversation with God directly, it's the perfect area for us to do this. If you could say something to Him directly, what would you say? So I want you to actually look dead in the camera, and if you could just be like, God, this, what would you say?
I think bottom line would be give me strength to do your will. I keep trying every day that I wake up to bring some meaning to my life and to know that I'm not here for myself but for other people. And if I could talk to God one-on-one, it would be give me the strength and the direction to help others as you would want me to help them.
All right, so no.